What's up guys, Jaden here. Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, I want to talk about something that I've learned that can finally end procrastination. So this method has definitely worked for me, and I think you will be very interested to find out how you can actually end procrastination. So let's get started. The thing about procrastination is, I don't know if you have the same problem as me, but I'm always procrastinating. I get a lot of work done, but I also know that I procrastinate a lot. The internal self-talk that you usually have with yourself, there's always going to be another day, I'll do it tomorrow, I didn't prepare enough, I think there's a lot of work to be done, hence let me start tomorrow because it's already at the middle of the day, I need a full day's work to complete this. Fill in the rest of your talks within your mind here. And this is what I went through. And even until to this day, I'm still procrastinating. I'm still giving myself a lot of excuses. And I tried setting deadlines. And the problem with setting deadlines is it doesn't work. Because I don't know if you have done the same thing as me, if you're guilty of this, but you will always adjust your deadlines. You will postpone your deadlines. You will extend it for another 1 month or 2 months, essentially giving yourself or giving myself excuses. So I'm going to share with you this one method that has worked for me. And I started this unknowingly 5 years ago. And this method has always worked. It has always put me into action. No excuses, just get things done. Okay, so I'm going to share with you. So this is actually pretty simple to understand, and I don't want to beat around the bush, just to show you this concept of why it works. And it's actually pretty simple. So if we have a scale, and this scale is risk, and over here, action, right? So essentially it's very simple. You have to increase the amount of risk. The higher the risk, the more action you will take. It's as simple as that. And this boils down to one thing. In the past, what I used to do was to set deadlines. And like I mentioned earlier, deadlines, they don't work because you can always adjust the deadlines, especially if you're setting a goal for yourself and you are the one who is controlling the deadlines. You can always adjust the deadlines. You somehow know that the deadline is, and especially if you're doing this very consistently, when you're pushing deadlines off, you kind of know subconsciously that this deadline is fake, like it can be adjusted. So the method that really worked for me was to set real deadlines. What's the difference? A real deadline has risk. There are risks involved when you're setting a real deadline, right? And the higher the risk, right? If the risk is very high, the amount of action you'll take, it's going to be a lot. But if the risk is very little, then the amount of action that you will take and the amount of procrastination that you go through will be a lot as well. Hence, lesser action. So why does this work? You don't have a choice, right? And because you have something to lose. So what are real deadlines? Real deadlines are something that is very risky, where you're losing something, right? So this can be in terms of money. This can be in terms of reputation. Okay. This can be in terms of time. Okay. The main important concept here is whatever that is valuable to you, right? Some people, $20, it's valuable to them. Some people, $20 doesn't mean anything to them. maybe $500 means more to you, right? It doesn't matter the amount. The most important thing is how risky is it for you? Because like I mentioned earlier, the higher the risk, the more action you will take. So what you want to do is you want to set real deadlines. And the reason why deadlines don't work, before creating this video, I actually went in and see why are deadlines called deadlines. And this is really interesting. A deadline was a line within or around a prison, and prisoners would be shot for crossing the deadline, right? And essentially, a deadline is something that must be done. But I think when procrastination comes into play, when we are the ones who are setting the deadlines for ourselves, we know we control the deadline, and hence the risk isn't that risky because we can always adjust the deadline, right? And in the past, a deadline used to be, the consequence is death, for example. And I'm not saying that you should go to that extreme, but it's really interesting to know why are deadlines called deadlines, right? Okay, so set real deadlines, put something on the line, something that is very risky and something that is very valuable. It can be in terms of money, reputation, time, whatever that is important to you, that you will feel the pinch when you lose this thing. You will feel the pinch when you didn't do the task, complete your goal before the actual deadline, right? I have 3 stories to share with you guys. And every single time this happens, I've always gone to the mode of no excuses, you have to get it done. And if you're somebody who doesn't procrastinate a lot, then that's good for you. But if you have some kind of procrastination, or if you're somebody like me who procrastinate a lot, right? I get a lot of things done, but I also know that I procrastinate a lot. And if you are still trying to figure out how to actually put in the actions for you to move things forward, because I don't think people want to procrastinate. I think people want to take action, and this method will really work. I'm going to share with you 3 stories. The first story was when I was tasked with a web design project. This was 5 years ago. I didn't have any experience. I have not created a website before, and I needed to create a e-commerce website with over 300 plus products. So what I had to do was I had to learn web design. I had to learn how to create an e-commerce website, and this brand has over 300 plus products, which is, if you are in the web design space, if you're creating an e-commerce product page or website, you know how difficult it is. So I went in without any experience, without any knowledge about web design, but I promised the person that I will get it done in a month. So within 1 month, I learned how to create a website. I learned how to set up an e-commerce backend, and I created a website. And the whole reason why is because this was a real deadline, and I have already collected the project amount, right? The customer has already paid me, and I promised them that the deadline will be in 1 month. And within 1 month, I learned everything, right? And that was kind of how I kickstart the journey of, becoming a online marketer. So that's the first story. And within these stories, you will notice that the same concept applies, right? The second story is also a web design example. And again, I was tasked with a web design project. This was quite recent. I had to design the website. I had to develop 2 versions of the website. And that was what I needed to do. But I had to travel overseas. And the deadline was, when I came back from overseas, I essentially had 1 day to complete everything from scratch, which means coming out of the mockup, coming out of the design, and developing the website, so that the next day I had to present the website to the client. So when I came back, from overseas. The following day, I had to start work real early, and I took a whole day to complete the mock-up, the design, and development of the entire site. This is a relatively small site, and I know that if I spend a day just focusing on creating everything from scratch, I know I can do it. And it took me a day. And funnily enough, the next day, the client postponed the meeting. But again, this is an example of if there is a real deadline, the keyword here is real, right? If there is a real deadline, the more action you will take. I had one day to complete the entire website from scratch. And some of you may be thinking, does this affect the quality of work? I think it's the opposite. You have to be focused in creating the work that it's quality, and within this time frame, you're actually not getting distracted. You're actually very much focused because you know that the deadline is the next day. In this case, for myself, my deadline was the next day. So I knew I needed to create something of quality because I had reputation on the line. Time was also against me. So that was the second example. The third example, if you always wanted to learn something, if you have always thought of, you want to learn something to enhance your skill, if you want to, maybe take up a new project or whatever that is that you want to do, right? And you always find that you don't have the time to, read that book or take that course or learn whatever it is that you want to learn. In my third story, the final story, I didn't have any experience with running Google Ads. Paid advertising was something that I've never done before. But one of my partners wanted to hand a project to me that involves Google Ads. So I said yes. And what I did was they needed results in 1 month. So I had 1 month to basically get results for them, not just run the ads for them, but to get them leads. And what I did was I accepted the project. I bought a Google Ads course. I learned the course, I consumed the course, and I immediately implemented within the first week. And then subsequent, the second, third, and fourth week, I was, optimizing and tweaking, basically working on the project. And 1 month later, they gotten the results that they want. And this all happened from me knowing absolutely nothing about Google Ads, nothing about paid advertising, to running a Google Ads account for them and getting the results that they want. And again, the reason why this works is because reputation, they have already paid me and I needed to deliver results for them. So this all happened within the learning and everything. It happened within a week. That week, I was intensively focusing on learning everything I know from the course and also watching videos about paid advertising. The reason why this works is because these are real deadlines. Okay, you have something to lose here. You are risking, for me, I am risking something. I'm risking my reputation. I'm risking my time. I'm also risking, giving back the money if there is no results, right? And I needed the money. So commit to something so that you have something valuable that you will lose. For example, if you have thought about losing weight, if you have thought about going to the gym consistently, and you find yourself procrastinating every single time, it's time to go to the gym, it's time to work on the project, it's time to take on a new skill. For me, what I will do is I will put $500 with a friend, right? And I'll let the friend know, hey, I'm going to set myself a goal for, going to the gym 5 times a week. And every single time I go, I will send you a picture of me in the gym. And if I miss any of these 5 times within the next 2 months, keep the $500. And what you want to do is, assuming that this is a good friend of yours, you want to send over the $500 first. Because now you have something to lose, right? Because you have already invested, quote unquote, invested the $500 with your friend. It can be also a family member, right? Because then the family member will not run away with your money. So, not saying that a friend will run away with your money, but You get what I mean, right? Take on risk and have something valuable to you that you will lose. This method has always worked for me. Like, there are no excuses. You just have to get it done, right? Because there is something for you to lose. Something real. And best of all, if you and your friend or whoever that you are with, or it can be also your family member, if you guys have decided on something, but both of you have been procrastinating, use this method. Put $500 with your friend and likewise your friend towards you, and then go on and execute that task. And whoever that doesn't do it loses that $500, right? If $500 doesn't mean anything to you, put 2,000, right? The main thing here is by doing so, you are going to take action. You are going to move forward with whatever that you say you're going to do. Because there isn't a lot of excuses, because now the deadline is, very, very much a real deadline. If not, in this case, you're not going to be dead, but you will lose something that is very painful for you, right? Whether if it's money, reputation, time, whatever it is that is valuable to you. So hopefully this concept will be able to help you out. Give this a try and let me know how it goes for you. This has certainly worked for me. You don't have to use it every single time, but now you have something that you can use within your arsenal that can help you move forward. Try it and let me know how it goes in the comments below. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching this. If you find this is helpful, like the video, share with your friend, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe for more productivity and marketing tips, and I'll see you in the next video.